Hey all, it's Matt with Bobcat Bonsai here. Today we're going to do the Bonsai by the Sea Yamadori challenge. The only rules for this is that you have to upcycle a pot and you have to use a Yamadori tree. So the tree that I'm going to pick to use is going to be the Kentucky coffee tree or the Gymnocladus dioicus. So I know it's not the right time of year to do this, but I end up mowing this tree down all the time because they just take over my entire yard. When these seed pods split, it just shoots the seeds everywhere, and these trees are everywhere to go. So if something were to happen to this tree, I can find probably about 70 other ones on my property. So let's go find one that we think will be the right fit for today's challenge. Okay, so right now I am below my Kentucky coffee tree, which needs some of these dead branches trimmed off of it. I'm gonna have to get to that. So now that we're below here, okay, the car went by now. So now that we're below here, let me show you what looks to be suckers, but these aren't. These are all actual individual trees that are growing down here. So we have all these Kentucky coffee trees growing right now. We got some little guys, some big guys, some little guys. And these things grow all over my property. It's been super dry lately. Normally my entire yard is just sprouts of these guys everywhere, but I mowed already and took a lot of them down. So the important thing to remember with the Kentucky coffee tree is they have, sorry, another loud truck. I'm like right near my road. So the Kentucky coffee tree has a really long taproot, really long. When you go to dig this guy up, you have to make sure you get that full taproot, otherwise it'll end up dying. It's almost guaranteed. I've run into that issue over and over again. So it grows a long taproot until it establishes, and then it starts to put out the little smaller roots coming off of the taproot, and then you're okay if you lose part of it. All right, so let's figure out which one we want here. I really like this little guy right here. I think that little one's cute. Then over here I've mowed this one down, so this is kind of turned into like a bunch. So then we've got these little guys right here. So I'm going to stick with one of these short ones. So the taller ones I showed you, those ones taproots are going to be a little bit too deep to try to dig up, and there's no way I'm going to be able to repot that and keep it alive. So even though there's plenty of them, I still want to be able to try to keep it alive. So let me get you set up so we can dig up one of these little guys. All right, so this one doesn't look like I've mowed it over yet. These are what the little seeds look like right here. This is the seed pod. It splits open and these seeds come shooting out. So the Kentucky coffee tree, from what I've read up on, if you try to have the seeds without roasting them, are extremely toxic. But if you roast the seeds first, then you'll be okay. So don't mind me, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of moving here because, as you can see back through here, there's poison ivy also everywhere. So first, I'm just gonna clear some of this area around it so I can actually see what I have to work with here. And that is when we find out right here that this has been mowed down before. But that's okay. We'll still give this a shot anyway and see. All right, so we got the tree over. We're gonna give it just a little pull. So, as you can see here, it's a decent sized taproot. This is where it was mowed down. This is where we've got it at. So, maybe we'll find another one once I get this in water. Or maybe we will just plant that one by itself. I'll be right back with you. Okay, so this little guy is actually over near part of my barn that had a cinder block wall up that I knocked down. I'm not sure if this one took damage from that. It honestly looks like it may have just grown out of the rubble, which can be beautiful. Alrighty, so as you can see here, we've got a good solid trunk. Super cool thing about these trees is even if I am to cut this all the way back to here, it's going to sprout out a whole new stalk, and it would be absolutely amazing. So let's get to planting these little guys up. Well, I almost forgot. We have to upcycle a pot. So, as you know from some of my previous videos here, I've made these little upcycled pots, which is cool. I've taken these bowls, turned them into pots, which is cool. But for today, we're gonna go through and upcycle a whole new pot. So let's see what we can find, and I'll be right back with you. All right, so I eat a lot of peanut butter M&Ms, way too much. And I normally use these containers to store extra stuff in, but I have enough that I can use one as a recycled pot. I'm gonna say we'll super glue this cap on and then cut it right across the middle. I know the taproots are super long, but I'm hoping since they are flexible that I can end up flexing them downwards and make this work out as an upcycled pot. And if it does, I can have two pots. And it even lifts just a little bit off of this side to let the water run out. Not once I put soil in, then it's not going to, but for now it does. All right, so let's take this cap here and apply a whole lot of super glue. All right, super glue is applied. Take the cap, put the cap back on, and let it cure up. So I'll be back with you here in a few minutes once I think this is all cured up. All right, so we're all cured up and we are on the saw table. So let me get you set up to watch me saw through it, and then I'll end up pretty much just muting that whole section because it is going to be super loud. All right, so while we are waiting, I'm going to grab a piece of scrap wood off the ground here, set this down, and start drilling some of my holes out. All right, so that takes care of that. Now, also while I was waiting, I cut a piece of screen that I'm just gonna end up laying across the entire bottom here, just to keep all the soil in. All right, so let's get out to it and start our planting. So, I grabbed some small lava rock to put at the bottom, but for now, we are going to get some wire put in. Just gotta get this straightened out a bit. Obviously, the bigger tree is going to be going up in the middle. So I'm actually going to run the wire for that one right up and through the middle here. I know that's a short wire, but there's a plan behind it. One of the other ones I think I'm going to set off back in this corner, so I'm going to pop a wire up through here. And through this angled hole right in here. So the plan for these lower wires is more or less that I want to be able to tie the root down itself. Let's see, we're going to get this one straightened out here. So there's one. Alrighty, so now that that's all in place, I'm just going to drop my little bit of lava rock in here. Just something to split it up a little bit. And then on top of that, I'm going to put just a little bit of pine bark. Now I know the wires look short, but this is just for me to be able to tie the root itself down. All right, so now that we've got that in, let's get to our soil. So the first layer is going to be a little bit more coarse soil, as you can obviously see here. And then the next layer we put on is going to be just a little bit thicker. So for now, our overall goal is to get this big guy in here. I know I said we weren't going to do much pruning because of this and the weather and all that, but I am going to end up taking off some of these roots because it is showing some nice white roots down here. So I want to expose more of this taper in the trunk. Alright, so now that that's out and exposed, I'm going to take this little guy and basically all I'm doing is telling it that I want the roots to stay right there. That's all. Alright. So that's going to end up dropping back just a little bit. I'm going to grab out some more wire here. And that's about what I'm going for the middle tree. Now I have to decide which one I want where for the outside tree. This little baby guy I think is going to go perfect. Just right in here. So that one I have no intentions of really wiring at all. It's so thin right now. It's got all these areas where it's trying to bud out. But I think that one will leave alone. And now we got this big guy right here. So this big guy, let me go grab some actual trimmers real quick. Alright, so now I have some actual trimmers here. So let's come in here. Just start taking off the dead wood. I'm also going to end up taking these little roots off. If that's actually, nope, that wasn't connected up there. Okay. So we're going to take off some of this here. This stuff actually heals up really good, so I'm gonna end up taking that back to there. Okay. And I know I also said that we weren't going to trim up the roots at all, but this one has a pretty solid root base going for it, so I am going to end up taking part of this root off. Couldn't find the other side of my wire. I'm actually going to end up just popping this wire out altogether. I am not going to need that one. But in turn, I'm going to throw in a bigger piece of wire. I guess we're now going to be implementing broken pieces of cinder block into part of this stand. Okay, so now we've got the broken piece of cinder block in there. So after a lot of debate here, I am going to end up wiring this up. So now as we're wiring, I'm bringing you in really close here. There's little buds right in here. So I want to make sure that I do not pinch those bugs. I do not want to pinch those buds. And on the back side, there's actually another two as well. Okay, so now you have a close-up idea of what I'm doing, and I probably made you motion sick again. And that's all the further I'm coming up on this one. So on this one, I'm going to bring it out and then back up and then back out. So I feel as if this one needs to go more that way, because we're trying to tackle almost like a windswept idea, and that trunk is a little bit too tough for the wire that I have on it up top, so we may have to add some wire there. Alright, so for now, I think this is what I'm gonna leave it at. Yeah, so everything kind of has a nicer sweeping motion this way. And that's what I'm going to go for here. I'm going to try to leave everything as if it's sweeping that way. Okay, so now that one's got the bend and it's coming back. Let's take a moment to look at this here. I think I'm going to take this branch back as well. This one I'm leaving long because I want it to sweep, and I want that to sweep, and I want this to sweep. I think I'm going to get rid of this one altogether. Everything's sweeping. Let's pop. Let's not pop that. We're going to wire it. So again, we're going to come in through here, hook it, lock it in place. And then be very, very careful wiring this one. So that is what I wanted right there. That's it. Alright, so this is my Yamadori challenge. Let me know your thoughts down in the description below. All I really have left to do here, add a little bit more soil. There we go. All we have left to do now is just give it some water. All I'm doing right here is just making sure all the ground is saturated. So I didn't poke around the roots, but you can see there's now air pockets, and that is more or less everywhere that the roots were going to be at. So now I just gotta make sure I get this all pushed down in there real good. I'm gonna refill my water jug. Let's give it another soak down again. So now we're good and saturated and have some very nice drainage. So now all I have left to do with this is I'm going to put it in the greenhouse for the next couple of days just to give it a better chance to heal up faster. And then we'll get back and check on it here shortly. So I know that was a long one, and I thought it was actually a really fun process to go through all that, and I'm going to try to speed the video up here and there just so that you're not sitting there watching things forever and wondering how much longer it's going to take me to do this. So there will be spots that you'll notice are speed up and I'm not talking you through it, and that's because I wanted to make this video a little bit shorter for you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to, you can subscribe, and if you want to know every time I post a new video, hit the bell notification. Thank you.